Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Master Division in the 2nd anniversary tournament. This video is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Let's go! Before I take my first shot, do not forget to check down in the video description to get the link to patreon.com/golfclashtommy, but also to get the direct timestamps to this playthrough. So if you don't want to watch hole number 1, you go and watch another hole by pressing on the timestamp there. Hole number 1. Need to start by saying we need to over-adjust this drive with around 10%. And the thing is here, like that the different thing from the other divisions and for Master Division is that we're going to have a very tough wind and we need to play to the right. So I'm going to play with a Kingmaker. I'm going to play with as much side spin to the right as possible, combined with 5.5 bar topspin. I know I'm using 5, but I do want you to play with 5.5. Then you're going to start your aiming from just when the ball starts to +1. So before that, just before that, with the red ring just by the rough on the right. That will take away the need of using that much overpower. But here you can see I'm using a tiny bit of overpower around that 10-15%. And go with a slight amount of curl. The ball just outside to the right. And we come in very nicely. Now we lay up. And now we're going to have a shot with our Goliath towards the pin. The thing to think about here is that we're going to be in minimum distance of our club. And very important here that you give yourself a little bit of room from the rough with your landing position. So instead of using the yellow ring just by the rough there, use the red one. Because if you're just a little bit like slippery with your fingers and stuff like that, then and you hit it great now, then you might going to cut the rough like this. And that is going to be frustrating and also not, of course, good. So, I'm having the Goliath. I'm going to play this one as I would be in minimum distance of my club. No top spin, no backspin here. Red ring just by the rough. Important to see so we can dial this one in. Very hard to read the ball guideline here. And I'm not adding anything for elevation here. I'm just playing it as it is. Which in this case, going to give myself 4.5 rings. So I hit it perfect. This ball is going to come in towards the pin here. Get in the hole. Oh, yes, miss it there to the left. Definitely a possible eagle in my opinion here. Very tough, but still possible to make. Hole number 2. Hole number 2 is going to be a tough one. Here I'm going to play with either the Cataclysm or I'm going to use my Guardian. And I play with a Cataclysm as I do have it in level 7. I'm going to play it with, in this example, with 5 bars of backspin. But I want you to play with 6. 6 bars of backspin. And as much side spin to the right with a blue ring just by the rough in the +7 yard mark with a Kingmaker. Then we adjust for max distance with an over adjustment of 10%. The ball just outside, you can see that arrow there to the right in curl. And then we take our shot. Coming in very nicely here, but you can see we're coming in way hot. So we do need that 6 bars. Very important. Otherwise we're going to bounce over the hole. 6 bars is going to be perfect. I like that. This is a very tough part 3. As for all the part 3s in Master Division, you will have to be a little bit lucky if you're going to get a hole in one, because it's like basically you're going for a fairway bounce pretty far away from the pin, and you never know what's going to happen there, and it's a very, very tiny cup to hold it out in. So very important that you do have that in mind and you not put too much of a pressure on yourself. Our opponent goes into water, and that's of course going to be a risk. But we put it in and we take the birdie. So, put it in there. And then we're going to go to hole number 3. Hole number 3 is going to be a tough par 5, especially with the wind that we're having. Now you can play this one two ways. You either choose play it a little bit more conservative with your drive on the right side, but will leave you up with a very tough second shot, especially if you are slightly off. You can see I'm playing with a new Centurion ball here. As the Centurion ball is a power 3 wind resistance 4 ball and side spin 3. But if you do have a power 4 ball, please play with that one. I'm playing with max side spin and 2 bars of top spin here, and I'm going to go to bounce directly over the bunker. I'm adjusting my shot for being a 10% over adjustment of max distance. And then I'm going to go with a slight amount of curl to the left, going max over power. You do have room to hit a great left, great right, and still will be good with the enormous side spin we're having, and also curl. This will put us up into a very nice position while going for the pin for the albatross. So, and again, I don't blame you for going right, but in the end, if you just are slightly too much out to the right on the right fairway, then you're going to have a tough time to reach for the greenie too. And therefore I take a harder drive in this case, as that will give me a good way to go for the albatross for the second shot. So, and sure, we need to feel comfortable with going with overpower, and I believe that when you're playing in Master, you need to find, you're going to find yourself in spots like that some of the time. Our opponent going to left with a firework. I love the visual with the firework ball. Coming over here nicely as well. Sits nicely. Well done to our opponent. Now for the second shot, I'm going to play with a Cataclysm. Give myself the distance. And if you don't have a Cataclysm at least in level 5, then you play with the big dog level 8. If you don't have the big dog level 8 and have it level 7, then you play with the Cataclysm level 4. Play with 3 bars of topspin here, so I can aim a little bit further down on the fairway instead of playing it from max range of my club. And then I'm going to play this one for around 5.8 rings here. Slight amount of counter curl, very rarely I do that, but I want to have it here as the rough on the right side would otherwise be very much in play. Roll in here, having a good speed, but of course hitting it great right will take it to the right. Hole number 4, par 3. Here I'm going to play with my sniper. And I'm going to put my sniper in the 10-yard mark. And then I'm going to go, in this case, with 3 bars of backspin and 4.5 bar side spin to the left. Or like 5 bars as it is here. But 4.5 bar will be okay. Half of the blue ring in the rough to the right. And then we're going to adjust this shot for 1-on-1 plus 2 rings. So this is going to be a shot that we adjust for 14.3 rings. And if you do want to play with another club than the sniper, then you play this one as for it being in max range with a 10% over adjustment. Coming in very close, get in! So close, getting it to the fringe, but no problem there. Came in a little bit too hot. But a good thing to go with, you know, a very good thing to continue to play with. Our opponent here is going to go back and play with the sniper as well, and I think the sniper will be the best club here. And I'm actually going to stay with a Kingmaker here through the tournament and not spend any win 5 ball. A win 5 ball here will, in this case, put myself in my opinion, in a range of playing with a driver instead. And I think this is a perfect range for the sniper to bounce it up towards the pin. Sure, you can be unlucky and get a little glitch to roll over the green completely. We just need to have that, you know, in the back of our mind. Our opponent coming up here, coming in a little bit too much to the left. A little bit long, but still on the fringe, no problem to save the birdie there. Hole number 5. This is the toughest hole in the tournament, and there is a hook shot for this one as well. Unfortunately, I'm not going to show you that one here, but I'm going to play a regular shot with a power 4 ball and my Apocalypse. Important here that we do need distance, so we need to pack the Cataclysm or the big dog for the second shot, and I would say please play with a power 4 ball if you can. If you do have a power 3 ball, you're going to have to go with some overpower for the drive, but it's also going to be a little bit risky in terms of if you do get short with your drive, you're not going to be able to reach that good to the green. And sure, for those of you that maybe have a gear ball or something like that, then you can play with a gear ball, gives you even more distance. But I play with a dead ball here, which gives me wind resistance 3 and a power 4 side spin 2. Going with max top spin. And you can see here now, I'm actually having a pretty decent wind here. So I'm stretching it out, then I'm going to eyeball the rings here now to just try to get it correct. There we have 10. And then I'm going to adjust the final part. So we're going to play this one around 13 rings, because I'm going to play with an over adjustment of 25%. Tiny bit of curl to the left, half of the ball outside to the left there. We could go with a little bit less here, honestly. We don't have to push it that far, but we hit the spot that we were aiming for. Nice shot here, coming in very nicely. Don't get the roll with the drive though, but we will have no problem to reach for the green for the second shot. So our opponent here has the sniper, and here you can see why packing the right club is so important, because this now is going to have to be a shot where you have to bounce before the rough there with topspin. And with the Cataclysm, sure, you will have to bounce before as well, but you not have to overpower like he is having to do now. So getting it out there to the side and going max overpower, that's never a good way to approach on this hole. It's going to sometimes go well, sometimes go very, very badly. And this shot goes up there, falls back down, and this is going to give our opponent a very long putt. And a long putt, as for you that has had a long putt before, know how hard that is. So my turn. And I'm playing with a 11.4 wind here, and I'm going to play this one with 4 bars of backspin and 3 bars of side spin to the left. And then I'm going to aim straight for the pin here. And as for the push, going to go and push us to the right here due to the wind, then I'm going to adjust this one for being in max distance, not playing it as underpowered. Very important for you to have that in mind. So I'm not playing it as an under adjustment. That's what I was supposed to say. Getting to balance there, coming in very nicely, but just missed it, but we did hit it great to the right. That's unfortunately, I'm not saying that we should be getting it in if we do play it there. So 3 bars top spin, max side spin to the right. I'm using this tiny bit of rock you can see here, there on the top of the blue ring. That rock as a reference. Putting my target there, then I'm going max curl with Apocalypse. And then I hook it. Then we're going to bounce here. You can see we're coming in pretty close to the rough here. So I would say play with a 2.5 bar topspin instead. And make sure that you're not overpowering your shot. Very, very important. It's very hard with curl to sometimes estimate and see if you do have overpower or not. Because if you do overpower that shot, then it's going into the rough long. So rather underpower it slightly. And in a worst case scenario, you're going to maybe cut the rough on the left side and roll out. You just want to be on fairway. Then you're going to have a very easy wedge for the eagle. Eagle, eagle, eagle. finesse. So our opponent's going to go with a regular curl shot, and that is going to work as well. But the reason I'm going for the hook instead of that curl shot is because we do have to be so dangerously close to the left side that if a great shot for us here is going to danger so much. So then I go for the hook, I take it, get the ball in the hole and take the eagle and go through to hole number 7. So, and here this wedge with a straight tailwind, this is a wedge that we are not allowed to miss. With it perfect, I'm gonna roll nicely here, coming in, bing, there we go, hole number 7, par 3. And here I'm going to play this one with the rock, or the quarterback, you decide yourself. And I'm going to play with half of the blue ring inside the rough there to the right with a max side spin to the right with a 2-bar backspin. Then I'm going to make an easy adjustment for myself. I'm going to play it, whatever the wind is, minus 1.5. Then I'm going to play 1-on-1. So in this case I'm going to play 9.7 rings. So 11.2 minus 1.5 is 9.7, 9.7 rings. Then I'm going to go with the ball pretty much 75% outside the adjustment ring to the right here. And we could actually go with a little bit more. As you can see here that I'm going to bounce pretty nicely coming in, but coming in too much to the left. Good speed though. And it's very important though to go a little bit more curl. So pull just a little bit more. Don't need more, like much more, but just a little bit there. Still the same here, and also important to have in mind that the rock should be in minimum distance of your club. So our opponent here is playing with a quarterback. And the quarterback is of course going to work as well. The rock and the quarterback is pretty similar. Because they both in a max level has a 100% accuracy. And the thing that is very easy to do here is to go with too little curl. Because going with too little curl will potentially put ourselves too much more to the left. Now our opponent was a little bit lucky to hit there on the side. So now we go with hole number 8. And here I'm going to go for the green directly. Going to be tough though. But it's going to be the play that I'm going to do, and I'm going to play with a Titan ball. And a Titan ball here will give me a good wind. And the thing that we need to have in mind here with a Titan ball is to make sure like that the wind is going to be pretty nice, like decent. If we do have a wind that is if we do have a wind that is above like 13, we need to take off a little bit of power. But having a wind that is around 12, then we don't need to take off any power and you can just go full blast all in here. So 14, you can see here, and 14 in wind is going to let me take off a little bit here. And now I'm going to go with max topspin with Apocalypse F7, but you will notice here that I don't need to go with the max topspin. You can see I'm taking off a little bit of power, and it's in this example I do hit this ball great right, which is going to push me a little bit more to the right. And I do hit the spot that I want to, but too much to the right. And will, in this case, not reach for the green, but will be very close for a sandwich. And the more left we come, then that's why the hook shot here might be a way to play. Or I would say should be a good way to play here. Is that we do want to try to aim and for the second bounce to be on the fairway pad there in the center. But in the end, we get into the sand, and now we basically are a perfect shot away from an eagle. And that's not bad. And this is something that we do have to go do with here with this hole, as it is a very tough one to get the bounce that we do want to. And sometimes we're going to get into the rough or into the sand and just have to cope with it and just try to do our best from that position. So I'm going to do my wedge as well, and I'm going to go with a little bit of topspin and then aim up for the wind. You can see it's a short wedge, short sand wedge, but it's not easy just because it's a short one. 14.2 in crosswind. I would rather be in the bunker just before the green, a little bit more to the left. I have a more straight crosswind, of course. Now it's a perfect shot away from the eagle. No! And I just missed that one to the right. With a perfect, that would be going in. Okay, so let's go to hole number 9. Hole number 9 I kind of like, and I would say first and foremost we need to play with a power 4 ball. I was about to say a power 7 ball, but that's not right. Power 4 ball. Power 4 ball to give ourselves some distance. You can see our opponent has an Apocalypse level 5 and going to try to do a single bounce. And I'm going to do a double bounce, and I do suggest you do the same. Sure, there is a bit, it's a difficulty for you that do maybe have like a extra mile level 7 or something like that, if you're playing expert with that, because you don't have the topspin to do this type of shot. Our opponent go with a double bounce, but had to go with overpower here, and gets over there nicely to the fairway. So my turn, and you can see I do have an Apocalypse level 7, which of course helped me out big time, but I would do the same play here. But you do have to do, as our opponent did, a little bit of overpower depending on how much topspin you have. Now I'm just going to line up, and then I'm going to adjust one-on-one, as one-on-one with Apocalypse level 7 is exactly as it would be max distance with a 20% over adjustment. And the 20% over adjustment is the thing that we do need to focus on. Push the target up to max distance and take our shot. Hit it perfect. Bounce very nicely there. First bounce, second bounce, perfect. And then we get up there. Boom! So, second shot here, and it's time for the rough bump. I really do like this rough bump here. Oh my god, that's such a disco in my headphone. Our opponent's going to try to go for the rough bump here, but they're going to come in away to the left. Hits it great as well, and going to miss this one to the left here of the pin. And roll a little bit, like, it's a good speed on this one. I like this one. A little bit too hot, maybe. Yeah, a little bit too hot, I would say. So, okay. From this range, I really like this drive here, as I do have... Then, I club... no. I have the Cataclysm level 7. I'm going to play my shot for being in between maximum and medium distance with a 10% under adjustment. So I am in +6. Take a look at the ball guideline. Now I'm going with 2.5 bar topspin here, aiming straight at the pin, but more directed to the left side of the cup, in a +6 yard mark. Now I'm basically having the blue ring just by there, and it looks like we're going to come in short, but with this tailwind we're going to get a very long, or like an extended ball guideline here, and that's something that I should have been paying more attention to, because it comes in very, very nicely, rolls in here, but we come in too hot, otherwise this would have been in. Thank you so much for watching this playthrough for Master Division in the 2nd anniversary tournament. Hope this will help you out. If you do have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel. We're over 30,000, yay! If you do want to have a training session with me, you can go into patreon.com/golfclashtommy. The video is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Good luck in the 2nd anniversary tournament.